The plight of Nepali consumers doesn't seem to end with an unprecedented fuel price hike, making a litre of petrol as costly as 199 rupees, not to mention equally disturbing prices of diesel and cooking gas. The consumers will now have to bear with a spiral effect of the fuel price hike, as food prices, transport fares, room rents and school fees, among others, to have soared to record highs. Good morning, I am Bipashna Tamang and these are the headlines of the hour. The private airline operators backtrack their decision to halt flights following government warning of taking action against them. The airline operators in dialogue with Civil Aviation Authority. Nepal's trade deficit goes up by 25% to reach 1,577 billion rupees as the Customs Department releases data of the ongoing fiscal until the mid of May. South Korea successfully launches its first satellite into orbit, stepping up the country's ambitions in space. A previous attempt last year had failed. And Sri Lanka stunned formidable Aussies 3-1 in the 5-match one-day series, registered thrilling 4-run victory with Sri Lanka scoring a century. The private airline operators have decided to backtrack off their decision to halt flights following government warning of taking action against them. The government had warned of arresting the operators under disturbances posed to essential services and even scrapped the license of the airline operators. Chairman of the Airlines Operators Association, Captain Rameshwar Thapa, informed of the decision of taking back all protest programs after the Prime Minister's office expressed concern over the development. Captain Thapa, in the meantime, said that they will continue to hold dialogue with the Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal, the airlines regulator body in the country. The private airlines operators had warned of disrupting all emergency and regular flights from today. The Airlines Operators Association yesterday had held a press meet protesting against the authority's directive that all private airlines should base 60% of their fleet outside Kathmandu and hike in service charge levied by the authority, among others. Nepal's trade deficit has reached 1,577 billion rupees. Making public the details of the ongoing fiscal year until the mid-May, the Customs Department has said that Nepal's trade deficit has increased by 25%. With imports standing at 1,763 billion rupees in the 11 months of the ongoing fiscal year, exports have been limited to 1,085 billion rupees. However, exports have increased by 53% in relative comparison to the mid of May last year. Despite the exports appearing large in terms of percent, the monetary value is very low, leading to increase in trade deficit. Foreign trade has reached 1,949 billion rupees in the 11 months of the current fiscal. The nation has spent 340 billion rupees in import of petroleum products alone. The price of petrol and diesel has almost doubled in 1 year period, while that of cooking oil, sugar, pulses, rice, vegetables and fruits have increased at an alarming rate as well. The steep rise in inflation has added to the public brunt, and despite reducing income and increasing inflation, the government has remained indifferent to the public plight. The opposition, which has been strongly criticizing the government ever since losing power, has also turned deaf ears to the issues of the public. More in this report.
Price of petroleum products have been revised 21 times within 1 year period. Diesel, which was available at 106 rupees per litre, now cost 192 rupees after an increase of 81% in its price. Increase in price of petrol, gas and aviation fuel, among other petroleum products, leads to an increase in inflation by around 4%. Price of goods related to the survival of the public have increased on different pretexts, including the coronavirus pandemic or the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Despite the increasing public issues and grievances, the government has remained insensitive. Instead of providing relief to the citizens, the government has said that inflation is out of its control. The government itself is responsible for this intense increase in inflation as it charges around 60% in taxes on fuel products. Public are compelled to bear the brunt as the Ministry of Finance has refrained from reducing taxes on fuel in fear of decline in its revenue. The current market prices have worst affected the daily wage workers. In a situation where prices of basic food items and other goods necessary for human survival are increasing by the day, no entity has so far voiced their concerns. Price of daily consumable goods are made public every day in neighboring countries. Market monitoring and regulating authorities are actively involved in keeping the market in check. However, the complaint of Nepal's government mechanisms operating on the interest of traders and business houses is not a new story. While the government remains silent to public grievances, the main opposition, which obstructed the parliamentary proceedings for 9 months, has also remained quiet in this regard.
Despite the lapse of 6 months since the 14th General Convention of Nepali Congress, the party's Central Committee is yet to gain a final shape as Party President Sherbahadar Deuba has not recommended members to the entity. The sister and supporting organizations of the party share a similar plight. Deuba was heavily criticized during his previous term for violating the party's statute. However, he does not seem to be making amends during this term as well. Re-elected from the 14th General Convention, Party President Sherbahadar Deuba is yet to give a final shape to this Central Committee as he is yet to recommend 21 members for the body. Deuba is also yet to call a meeting to assess the party's performance in the local election which concluded more than a month ago. With Deuba repeating his practices from the previous term, General Secretary duo Gagan Thapa and Bishop Prakash Sharma have met him to draw his attention for holding the meeting of the Work Audit Committee. There is a growing frustration felt among the young generation of the ruling party as the party leadership continues with its old practices. The oldest party of the country, which also claims to be the most democratic, Nepali Congress itself has been violating its statute on several occasions. The party has 13 sister organizations, 17 supporting organizations and 42 departments. The main sister organizations are yet to hold a convention to elect their leadership. Meanwhile, Nepali Congress is also yet to hold its policy convention, which it was supposed to do immediately after the General Convention. Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question: why has Nepali Congress failed to operate based on its statute? The options are option A, weak leadership, option B, groupism, and option C, old habit. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked locals in several provinces why has the government not shown interest in addressing the issues of the general public. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
सत्ताको लागि जे पनि गर्ने प्रविधि नेताहरुमा हाबी छ अनि त्यसैको परिणाम हो
समाजमा रहेका समस्याहरू समाधान गर्छौं भनेर त जानु भयो तर पछाडी आफुलाई उहाँहरुको कुर्सी प्यारो भयो
कसरी सत्ता टिकाउने कसरी कुर्सीमा पुग्ने भन्ने कुरा मात्रै राजनीतिक दल व्यस्त रहेका छन्
जनता जेसुकै परोस् जसुकै अप्ठ्यारो परोस् तर उसलाई केही मतलब गरेको छैन
मूल्य वृद्धि नियन्त्रण सम्बन्ध गर्न सक्छ नि उले अनुगमन सम्बन्ध गर्न सक्छ नि
हाम्रो लागि चाहिँ मोलको व्यवस्था गर्दै चाहिँ सबभन्दा राम्रो कुरा चाहिँ यही हुन्छ
That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.